So if we want to tune into a radio station, we got to get on the frequency of that station. And the frequency of God's voice is still. Or if I want to hear God's voice, I need to myself be still. The problem with that is when we are trying so hard to be still, a lot of times we have a tendency to try to quiet our thoughts, to try to get them to go away, or try to get them to control them in some way. And control just doesn't work. The control is an illusion. The more you try to control something, the more it just gets out of control. So there's a way that we can use to really bring ourselves to still very quickly. And it's very simple. The first is to recognize that the conscious mind, the conscious part of our mind, is the goal setter. The unconscious part of our mind is the goal getter. So I let the unconscious part of my mind do most of the work. And I use my conscious mind to set a clear intention for what it is I want the unconscious to do. In this case, I can hold a clear intention that I would like to be still. So I set the intention. I am still. And then what I begin to do is I step out of my thoughts and I step into a place of awareness. Not by controlling my thoughts, but by noticing my thoughts. It's in noticing my thoughts that I'm not trying to control them anymore, but I'm just becoming aware of them. And I keep holding this intention while I do that, while I'm noticing my thoughts, I hold the intention of stillness. So again, I'm not trying to get still. I'm holding an intention of still. And I'm just noticing, I'm getting into awareness around my thoughts. The really cool thing about this is it will help you to get still. Let's try it together. What I want you to do, I'd like for you to take out a piece of paper. And when I have you start, I'd like for you to just notice whatever thoughts or emotions come to you while holding the intention that you are still. And as you notice those thoughts or emotions, just write them down. Few words. Write it down, keep writing. And just notice what happens. We're not trying to get a result here. We're just being an observer and noticing what happens. So grab a piece of paper and start to notice your thoughts right now. And write them down. It's like that. You just move more and more towards stillness. As you're not trying to be still, you're actually just noticing what is coming up for you. It's like the more I shine that light on it, of seeing it, the less power it has over me. There's nothing wrong. See, that's the key with this. There's not a right or a wrong. We're just noticing what we're feeling, what we're thinking, what we're experiencing. And as we notice that, it's just so interesting how, in my experience, the experience that I have every time with this is I will all of a sudden start noticing things in the present more and more and more. Like for me, I begin to notice as these thoughts are rolling, I'll be writing the thoughts down, and then suddenly in my case, like I wrote down, started noticing my pen and my paper. I started noticing the sounds in my ears. I suddenly, out of nowhere, started noticing my breath. And then it was just like total peace. And just calm, neutral, quiet, still. And it's just so interesting to me how that will occur or can occur as we just don't try. Like I say, the key is we're not trying to get somewhere in this. And there's no right or wrong. The only thing you can do wrong is try to do it right. This frequency of still is a frequency of awareness. It's when we're in awareness that suddenly we hit that still, and it's like our heart and our mind come into coherence. And suddenly we can feel and hear God's voice in that place. This getting on the frequency of still can enable us to recognize the first voice and kind of clear out the muddiness of, when the second voice is so loud and so pushing on us. It can really help us to clear some of the mud and the clouds from that second voice and see the first voice that was trying to get through. So just ask yourself, another way of asking about this is, when you hear the second voice, just ask the question, wow, what is it that Satan's trying to drown out that God's trying to tell me right now? Why is he being so loud right now? And it may help you recognize that first voice.